today's video, we will cover the fundamentals of product design and the 6 stages of product development. Whether you're creating a physical product, a digital product, a software product, or a service, the underlying process and key steps to take are the same. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Empathizing with your customers is critical if you want to create products or services that exceed their expectations and address their needs. Often referred to as market research, you need to know your target market intimately. Who are they? What demographic? What's their price range? Where do they live? What education do they have? What impact might cultural differences have on their user experience? Are they an existing market to you or not? If you plan to use distribution channels to sell your product, you will need to consider both your customer and end users' needs. There are many ways to do this: the focus groups, customer surveys, trade shows, conventions, or my personal favourite, stalking your competition and reading their customer reviews. Who are your competitors? What do they do well? What can you do better? Is there a market gap and demand for your idea? These are all factors that you will need to consider and know before moving ahead. Now that you know your customers' problems, needs, and wants, it's time to start transforming this information into something more tangible. Start to define the problem statement. What is the current situation? What is the desired solution? What are the use cases? Start to build a picture and a business case to get buy-in. If you work for a company, you will also want to engage potential stakeholders to get their feedback and avoid obstacles later. What are your customer requirements? What are your expectations for sales? Your projections for gross profit and return on investment? What are the potential risks or obstacles to success? What are your opportunities? This information needs to be defined before committing investment. Now that you have a business case and support from stakeholders, it's time for the real fun to begin. Open up the product idea to a wider audience. Set up creative workshops. Bring people together from across the organization. Brainstorm and interpret the product concept from different perspectives. Evaluate the feasibility of different design options. Identify potential risks and drawbacks. It's difficult to resist the temptation to steam ahead and develop polished, detailed designs. However, this should be avoided. To begin with, low-fidelity prototypes should be created, as these can be reiterated quickly and cheaply. This is referred to as fail fast, learn quick, where product customers and stakeholders are involved throughout the design process, and frequently given the opportunity to provide feedback on early prototypes or concept demonstrations. Is the idea financially viable? Is it feasible? Do you have the resource and knowledge to develop it? Not all good ideas are worth the potential risks. You need to consider the practicality early before advancing. Here's where the hard work begins. It's finally time to start designing your product or service. The project scope and objectives should be clear, and a plan put in place to measure progress. It's a good idea to define how fulfillment of customer requirements will be measured by creating a test schedule with clear pass or fail criteria. Such tests should only be performed on like-for-like product samples that are identical to the finished product's fit, form, and function. For example, using the intended materials and manufacturing processes intended for the end product. It should be confirmed that the design meets the customer brief by verifying conformity to requirements before advancing the design further. Are the obstacles to success removed or mitigated to an acceptable level? Is the product still viable? Is there a reasonable expectation of meeting planned validation measures? If so, you can move forward with the design. Possibly the most critical and often a costly part of the design process is product test. Does the product pass or fail? Does it function as intended or not? Before advancing a product this far, confidence of passing product testing is typically high. It is normal for some minor changes or rework to be required after test. However, a severe outcome at this phase would be if major changes are needed. If everything goes well, the go-ahead will be given to prepare for product launch. Purchasing production quantities of parts, building inventory, marketing and internal handovers. Congratulations, you now have your product or service and are ready for launch. However, this is just the beginning. There's still your launch plan and marketing to consider. Check out my channel for other videos on this topic. And if you found this tutorial helpful, be sure to subscribe and like this video to see more like it in the future.